Well, welcome, Prescott, and thank you for tuning in to Prescott E-News Prescott Talks. My name is Glenn Martin, and I'm your host. Today, I have Connie Cantelme, who is well known in our town, and she's been on several committees and has been an activist in different ways. And today, she's going to talk to us about the new proposed jail, or as some people will call it, the justice system or justice center. Connie's got a lot of really good information we want to share with the public, kind of getting that other side we've heard from the Board of Supervisors and those who support it. So we're going to kind of talk a little bit about what impacts our town economically as well as socially. So Connie, give us just a little bit of background again on where you've been and what you've done in Prescott.
Well, first, thanks for having me.
You're
I
welcome.
Appreciate it, Glenn. I've lived down here for probably 16 years, moved back here, as I said, 16 years ago. And in my career, I was a general contractor designer. I owned a design build firm for 37 years in the Valley. My parents moved here in the 70s, and I, of course, left and went to school and, had my company and my kids and everything in Phoenix, and came back here, moved up on Pleasant Street about 16 years ago. And as time allowed, I started to kind of dial in on what was going on in our downtown area, and was kind of disappointed by what I'd seen. A lot of blight, the infrastructure had not been tended to, and this is our little jewel. This is the heart of our city, our Prescott city. So we had a big homeless problem at the time. And so anyway, I'm kind of a researcher, as you can see. I have months of research on why we don't want this jail in our community. And just to kind of start off, the main focus for me is the long-term cost and effect of this jail in our city. So, going back to my professional life, after I started kind of poking around what was going on up here and connecting the dots, I started getting involved at the city because at that time we had a severe homeless problem, and it was being fed by the drug rehab businesses, the failed, by the way, drug rehab facilities, and the Department of Corrections. So these were a lot of guys coming out of jail, and the course is, they get caught doing something drug related, they go to jail for a while, then the judge says to them, okay, here's your choices. You continue on in jail or you go to drug rehab. Well, of course, they're going to pick drug rehab in Prescott, Arizona. And so in my, kind of poking around down at the city, I decided to get involved and get on some committees. So I was initially with Mayor Kuykendall on his Homeless Solutions Committee. And this is where we kind of analyzed where these guys were coming from. So that's how I know where they were coming out of the Department of Corrections. And most parts, many of the facilities were bringing them here also from California, Florida, wherever, cycling through the system, as we know. Later on, Mayor Oberg started the Sober Living Homes Ad Hoc Committee. I was on with you, actually, and we got an even deeper dive into the problem. So we know we have a very serious problem with that. Later, I was on the Economic Advisory Group here at the City of Prescott. I was on the Block Grant Committee, and I'm currently on the Prescott Advisory and Appeals Board. So I've been part of the outlook and looking into the future, what's in store for Prescott. So as a general contractor and a designer, I started personally buying up some of these former drug rehab homes, some of these adorable little bungalows that had just been neglected. Tons of deferred maintenance, the yards weren't done. They were a cancer on our neighborhood. So I started buying them myself. I just finished up my 12th renovation. And in the meantime, I spoke at real estate investor groups. I've enticed other contractors to come down here to do the same. We, myself, the business people, a lot of the contractors, the neighbors, the taxpayers, we want to preserve what we have here. And by the way, many of us are retired. So do we need another tax implication in our life? No, we do not. But the unintended consequences of the jail in our city is my main concern. Again, having just gone through this with the drug rehab business, serving this population of people coming out of a 600-bed jail facility, justice center / jail facility, it's still a jail. It's going to be burdensome, to say the least, on us. They are estimating the cost of keeping this jail is going to be at $3.5 million. They're talking about somewhere between $70 and $89 million That's not at build out, by the way. That's just the first phase. So, you know, I'm really asking people to just get dialed in on this issue. We've got to make sure our vote counts. We've got the County Board of Supervisors are now up for re-election. We've got 18 people running for 5 positions. So we need to make sure that we vote for people, get them in there that are opposed to this jail and what it's going to mean to our society here in Prescott, Arizona.
And this is a great segue where Rob, our producer, will put up the candidates and where they sit on their position on the Justice Center or the jail, and their tax, how they want to pay for it as well. So as I'm speaking, you're probably seeing it right now, but go ahead.
Well, I am. In fact, I have asked Sheriff Scott Masher and several of the current County Board of Supervisors. I was part of a private meeting with Scott Masher, Phil Bourdain, Mary Mallory was there, and one other policeman. I think he runs the jail up in Cottonwood. And it was like they all are speaking from the same playbook, the same thing that they're going to tell you. It's a done deal, it's over. Well, that's not actually true. We could possibly stop this thing, even though they're going to start. If nothing else, we could stop the expansion. The other thing they're going to tell you, because I have said before that the voters, by the way, the taxpayers, the voters, have voted down this initiative not once, but twice. And here's what happened. We spoke. The supervisors ignored us, okay? So we don't want to go through that again. You know, in 2008, they put the sales tax initiative. 56% said no, 43% yes. 2014, they tried it again. 52% said no, 47% said yes. Then what happened, they put it back again to tell us that the jail maintenance tax was to sunset in 2020. 75% yes said that. But what they've been arguing to a lot of people, that initiative was only to ask us how to pay for this jail. But that is not actually true. So I did some digging. I was actually able to get a hold of the ballot right here. And I can read it right here. It says the Board of Directors of Yavapai County Jail District asked the voters of Yavapai County for authorization to impose a county jail district excise tax, sales tax, of up to 0.5% per dollar to provide revenues for the operation, maintenance, and construction of a county jail for the period of 20 years. So people read this. This is the actual verbiage, the language. So for them to say that the people were not voting down the jail, they were voting down the way to pay for the jail, is disingenuous at best. So the people did vote. The County Board of Supervisors decided not to listen to us. And they told us, okay, well, we've given you 2 opportunities to approve this. You didn't do it. So we're going to punish you now. We're going to raise your Yavapai County property taxes up to 18. I've heard sometimes in some people, some groups say 20%. So that's a big impact on all of us for something that nobody wants in this town because of the impacts. And it's not the question of do we need a jail. Absolutely. I have the Chin report here. We do need we probably need some expansion. It would be cheaper for us to expand the jail in Camp Verde.
The current facility.
The current facility in Camp Verde. Then they'll argue, well, it's costing the taxpayers $2 million or so to transport the prisoners to the jail. So here's my solution to that. Give a patriot a job. We've got several retired policemen here, several retired sheriffs here. Let them be an entrepreneur and start a transport system. They can make money, they can pay taxes into our general fund and contribute to our society. Why do we, the taxpayer, have to pay for this stuff all the time?
The burden,
There's no reason that somebody can't start that. I mean, there's Brian, I think it's Brian Silvernail is running for County Board of Supervisors. I happen to know I think it was his father, had a, Prescott Transit Authority. He'd be the perfect guy. He knows the ins and outs of a transport system. Be an entrepreneur, start something, take the burden off the policemen so they don't have to leave for 4 hours. They can stay in our community, and now we've given a job to maybe 10 or 15 people that are going to pay taxes and contribute, not take from our society.
And I think you're hitting right on the nail, Connie. There's so many other options that are out there rather than investing in this new project right now, especially amongst in the COVID economy,
Yes,
as I call it.
that's right.
We don't know where the shortfalls are going to be. I watched the stock market. It's up, it's down. It was down last week again.
That's right.
So, and I look at the state's position, and the state doesn't know where they're going to be at, and they've canceled all the road projects, and I mean, they're trying to do it, smart.
Right.
Because we don't know. But it seems like Yavapai is full bore, and our
they want this
supervisors
jail. Yeah,
are pushing all these projects.
That's right.
COVID be damned, if you will.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we're talking about the jail, but the Yavapai connector and all these multi-million-dollar projects.
Yeah.
And they've raised our tax once. And my fear as a taxpayer is we get into the COVID economy and they decide, we only have a foundation, we're going to need some more money. And
Right.
you know who they're going to come to.
Well, of course they are.
Yeah.
And this is a proven fact. They will come to us. Do we really need this? When you look around downtown, what our business people right now are going through, many of those businesses down there will not reopen. Mm-hmm. We have a strong retirement community on a fixed income. Do we need to hang this albatross around the necks of our taxpayers right now?
Yeah.
Not to mention the biggest impact of all. If that jail was just going to go in out there and it was going to have no impact on this community, great. I want everybody to be better. But do I, as a taxpayer, a property owner, a business owner in the city of Prescott, want to take this kind of a situation on? We already saw what this was going to do to our city in a much smaller way with the proliferation of the drug rehab facilities that pretty much took over our downtown area. You can live up in your gated community and not really check out and not understand what's happening down here. But as I have said to many people in my group and my business affiliations, I live in ground zero. We feel it first. When our so-called leaders make these bad decisions, it affects us first. We're trying to preserve our city, our history, our streets, our infrastructure, our economic development, which leads me to another thing. As a smart business person myself, 40 years in the business, I own 4 businesses. If I'm going to go into a new community, do you think any one of these big outfits that are looking at Prescott are not going to do their homework? They're smart people. They're going to look at this jail and go, oh, well, there's one community that is getting ready to build a 600-bed jail. We know what the studies say because I've got several case studies here of other municipalities have taken much smaller jails in and what it's done to the communities.
Do you have any of that information?
Yes, I do.
Because one of the things that I know a lot of my viewers like to do is research things for themselves.
Yes.
So, and we want to be fact-based here on the show. So these are some of the places that you might want to go to and take a look at what the impact on other communities have been for facilities like this that are even smaller than what's being proposed to us.
What a lot of people, the listeners, if you want to go on your computer into your search engine, just put in jail towns, repercussions of jail towns, search it all the way around. Things will come up. Here's a very good article, and again, I've done 8 months of research here. This is rural communities look to jails for revenue. Let me tell you about a case in study here. This happened in Littlefield, Texas, okay? Let me tell you what the sheriffs talked that community into. The community thought, they were a poor community, so the sheriff said, well, we want to bring in some revenue. The way to do it is to bring another jail in. So hang on one second. Let me just tell you that ended up not being true. It was not a money generator. Let's see here. Hang on one second. Okay, here it is. In 2017, officials with the local government, I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. That's another case and study too, though. Here's it is. This is what happened in Littlefield, Texas. The tiny town of 6,500 people built a correctional center in 2000 in hopes that it would turn a profit by renting out beds to the crowded local jails throughout the state. This center, this jail, cost $11 million. Now remember, this is in 2000, so it would cost much more today. The community spent $11 million constructing this center, and it originally held people from Texas, Idaho, and Wyoming. But gradually, all jurisdictions pulled out. The GEO of the private prison company running the facility left town. Despite being empty, the jail cost $65,000 a month to maintain. So in 2011, the town put the facility up for auction because they couldn't afford it anymore. They ended up getting $5 million out of it, but it relieved the debt. But today, that jail facility that community built, sold at auction, and is now the largest sex offender holding jail in the country. Everybody that was left in that community has now left. That community is boarded up. This is the repercussions of this population of people. When you have them concentrated, like in our town, we're a town of 44,000 people, let's say. We don't have jobs enough for our own people. We cannot absorb these people. We don't have enough affordable housing. All the other things that come along with this. We will see a resurgence in the sober living homes because that is something that they need. We're going to have all these reentry programs, which we already have. It's just going to be a detriment onto the city, and you, the taxpayer, are going to have to pay for it.
And the important part also is on the sober home problem, we had HB 2107 who came in and kind of helped us out on this. Once we get a jail built here, it's forever. It's never going to go away.
And because of the changes surrounding the sober living homes, a lot of the power we had has been taken away.
Yeah, we had a great ordinance. You and I worked very hard on that.
That's right.
We had a lot of really a good ordinance that put standards within the homes, but unfortunately that's gone away now because Human Health and Services by the state has taken over, and they have a weaker overview of these homes. So
well, and by their own admission,
it's kind of like a perfect storm is moving in.
It's a perfect storm. You think it was bad before? This is going to exponentially be bad, and there will be no end to it. Because according to this situation here, the jail, we have 8,500 people that go through that jail a year. The Chin report is actually an excellent report, and I urge you all to try to get a hold of that Chin report.
I want to make sure people know we're not just sitting here telling you this to scare you.
No.
There's Connie has really researched this along with other groups and other people.
Yeah.
And you guys have really researched, and that's why I have you on, because I just don't want to throw stuff out there, and see what sticks. I want to give our viewers, our listeners, the facts. And then you can make up your own decision. Are you going to support the people who are going to try to stop this thing from happening, or do you want to support the people who want to go forward? It's all about making that informed decision in the voter booths. I'm sorry.
Well, and I can tell you, I've been to the few forums that have now happened, and there are very few people that are running actually have a grasp of what I'm talking about. They've been fed misinformation. They're not taking it upon themselves to go investigate these situations. Look at the history, look at the articles. They need to be able to do this, but they've been told by certain people in the community that this is what they need to say and do, and without question, they're just following. We are going to bear the brunt of that. This is another great thing. Oh, by the way, there's a website called Stop the New Jail. You do have to be invited to go into this, but if you can get into this, they are a wealth of knowledge. They have on their site little tabs you can go into. All of these articles are now posted. This is another one, the Yavapai County Criminal Justice Center fact sheet. You should get this and read it. This is very disturbing. These are the facts surrounding the jail. And remember, you, the taxpayer, will be footing the bill for this. So,
and this fact sheet came from a lot of FOIAs that we've all put in, including me. And we've got the information directly from the county. So this isn't hearsay. This isn't stuff that you're going to hear on the internet. This is a Yavapai County Jail fact sheet that you might want to take a look at and get that information.
And the Chin report. And you need to read the Chin report because it's actually very revealing. Again, in my research, I think the titles of many of these articles will start to paint a picture. Even if you go on Stop the New Jail and it's overwhelming, and I've got to tell you, it's very depressing. But we've got to dial into this. This is about ready to change our city. Let me just read this. So again, rural communities look for jails for revenue. This has been debunked already. So they're not making money. Here's another one. I had a couple of County Board of Supervisors tell me that Cottonwood and the Camp Verde area were not affected by the jail. No, I've got articles, one after another. Deferment program assists the mentally ill repeat offenders. Rural and small town jails are driving America's high incarceration rate, researchers find. Here's another one. They said that it doesn't affect the homeless population. Go to the Prison Policy Initiative website, another incredible site. Nowhere to go, homelessness among formerly incarcerated people. Read this. This will make you want to cry. Here's one from Sedona talking about the Pretrial Diversion program that is now, this was dated August 16th, 2019. Read about the diversion programs. It's exactly what it says. This is a way to divert the people that are currently in the jail, get them out of the jail and into your communities by way of sober living homes, drug treatment programs, behavioral health modifications. These people will be in your community. And again, I'm going to tell you, in a community of 44, 45,000, whatever Prescott currently is, can we absorb this massive amount of people into our community? I don't think so. How are we ever going to be able to serve these people? Again, more shelters, more feeding places, more police involvement, more fire involvement, and then more taxes. And not to mention the crime rates go up. Your quality of life will be affected. I want these people to get well, and I am willing, as everybody would be, to say we'll take our fair share. But a 600-bed revolving door jail is not taking our fair share, especially when 40% of these people are being brought here from other communities to stay in our community. So this will have a major impact on our city. But again, this is just go on to sedona.biz. Yavapai County Attorney's Office announces plan to launch a pre-trial diversion program for drug offenders. When I read that, read between the lines. You're going to see we're going to need all these sober living homes. Here's another one. This is a great site. Does your county really need a bigger jail? These are questions to ask your law enforcement, the judiciary, and jail expansion advocates. Get on that. That is on the Prison Policy Initiative website. Go on there and get this and start asking your officials these questions. These are pertinent questions. Here's another one. This is, again, Cottonwood area. The Cottonwood Police Department steps up on panhandling. They had to, it got so bad from the released jail people in the community, they had to start a safe shopper program. So you tell me this is not affecting Cottonwood and Camp Verde? Of course it's affecting them. Here's another one, right out of the Courier. Jails forced to double as treatment centers for the mentally ill. Here's another program, Yavapai County's Restoration to Competency program. They call it the RTC. Read this. This is what they're going to be doing with the inmates into our community at an alarming level. Here's another one, a great article. Tom Thurman explains what the county priorities are. The county priorities are to build a 600-bed jail in your small community. It just goes on and on and on.
Yeah. And a lot of information.
It's a lot. And here's another. Here's a 16-year comprehensive study from the United States Justice Bureau. These are the collector points of all of the situations in the jails. Go on to Stop the New Jail. You have to ask to be involved in it. Read this thing. This will make you want to cry. We're going to have this in our community. And again, we can take our fair share. But is 8,500 people going through that jail every year going to be good for our community? I think not.
Yeah, but Connie, a lot of the people that I talk to say that, it was voted down twice. It was voted once, twice. It was voted down. And they say that that it was voted down only because of the way we wanted to pay for it. Is that true?
No, that is not true. In fact, I heard that too. And let me see I got a copy of the, I was able to get my hands on the actual verbiage from the official ballot of November of 2014. Okay, this is just one of the two, this is the language in one of the two requests for the money. And I'm going to read it to you because what they've been telling is exactly what Glenn said. They've been saying, oh no, the people just voted down the way to pay for the jail, but they didn't actually vote down the jail. Well, let me read to you what it says. The Board of Directors of the Yavapai County Jail District asked the voters of Yavapai County for authorization to impose a county jail district excise tax, which is a sales tax, of up to 0.5% per dollar to provide, and listen to this, revenues for the operation, maintenance, and construction of county jails for a period of 20 years. You can go and find this. You got to dig for it, but this is a copy of the actual ballot language.
Right.
So that is not true. People voted this down because they don't want a construction. They don't want the construction of the new jail. It's that simple. So see how they're twisting. They're twisting the language.
I also, you know, and I don't have the sheets like you do in front of me, but I heard that there's about 58% of a poll that was given that does not support a new jail, a new facility.
That's right.
And again, I'm gonna have my producer put up a sheet that shows who supports a new jail and how to pay for it. It was put out by the Citizens Tax Committee, so you're probably looking at that right now.
Another good source.
And that will tell you who is supporting it and who's not supporting it.
That's exactly right, and we want to make sure that we're very clear on that, because again, we've got 5 spots open, 18 people are running. Many of the people running are lockstep right behind our Sheriff Masher's mantra about the jail. Without looking into it themselves, they don't actually even know the facts. I can listen to them, and it's almost like they have the same playbook. Every single one of them have recited the exact verbiage in that playbook, but they have nothing behind it. They don't actually know the details. And again, I know we need to expand a jail, but do we need it right there at the mouth of one of the most expensive, residential housing areas, the Prescott Lakes? We've got the Granite Dells there, which will be another hiding spot for them. They can go to Walmart, or they can get right on that big wide sidewalk by the Veterans Administration and walk into town in 25 minutes. These are mostly young men. It's not going to take them very long to get into this town. Right. So, we've got to really be...
Well, besides the economic impact, I mean, we talked about the economic impact a little bit, and some of the things that it will bring to the town as far as mental health issues and help. Can you hit a little bit on that?
Well, you mean as far as the businesses needed to provide this?
That's
well, yeah,
correct.
we do need the mental health, and we've got them. I think what happened when this jail actually started to come to fruition with the County Board of Supervisors, the services knew they were going to pile on because this jail was going to go through.
Right. So
in response to that, we've got Sonos Behavioral Health down there next to Sonic.
Right.
We've got Spectrum coming in. There's another one called Wexford, I believe it is, currently up at Camp Verde. These are multi-million-dollar companies that want these diversion programs because these are their clients. So of course they're going to divert them out of the jail. And again, I want them all to be better, but at what cost to our community do we take this in? Not only the financial cost, but the quality of our life down here. It was so unsafe during the proliferation of the drug rehab businesses with a much smaller population of people. But our homeless population doubled in some camps of these young men that failed out of these drug programs. They went into the homeless population. That is a fact.
Yeah.
So, again, I'm just asking.
It's just another impact, and that's what I'm trying to let the folks know. This is another impact that will happen within our community that will never go away.
Well, how many do we take?
I'm not trying to be unsympathetic. I
Sure.
understand, I had an addict for a son. I understand the help that's needed.
Sure.
I get it. But at what cost do we do it when we build a facility like this and it impacts our community as a whole? I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Well, that's true. This facility would be better suited to, Phoenix area, Los Angeles. I mean, big cities that have all these...
That can absorb this
It can absorb it. We cannot absorb this. We can't even take care of our own people.
Yeah.
Our kids are leaving here at an alarming rate. We can't keep them here. We call it the brain drain. Those of us that are in economic development for the city of Prescott, we don't have affordable housing. That's another big thing I hear is constantly being brought up by the city, the economic development department. Affordable housing, affordable housing. We don't have that. So where are these people coming from the jail going to go? Again, I contend we have a few places. The square is going to be one of them. Walmart parking lot, the neighborhoods, because it is a proven fact our crime rate will go up. Because these are criminals. These are people that committed crimes, and in my eyes, they've given up their rights. But do I now have to foot the bill? And do we, especially in an area this small, we will see it. There is absolutely no doubt that we will see it.
Go ahead, Connie.
I wanted to also tell the people, again, right now we've got a chance to try to turn the County Board of Supervisors around. The people that are running, I'm just going to tell you right now, some of the people that are not supporting the jail. Harry Oberg, District 1, is not supporting the jail. District 2, we've got Wiley Klein on the record saying he is not supporting the jail. Tony Ontiveros, District 2, not supporting the jail. Randy Garrison, by the way, in District 3, of course, he's a current board member, is supporting the jail. I'm not sure of his contender's name. I think it's Donna Michaels, possibly. Donna Michaels. District 4, Jane Anderson and Rand Armstrong are not supporting the jail. District 5, Steve Irwin is not supporting the jail. Mary Mallory and Brian Silvernail are supporting the jail. And I know there's a couple other people running out there, but be a conscientious voter, look into this stuff, research it. We are at a crossroads in Prescott for our business development, our preservation of our downtown, our safety, our well-being, our police and fire. We need to stop this jail if there's any way to do it. The other thing I wanted to bring up, if we have another minute?
Yeah, we do.
Okay. A lot of people have asked me, well, where's the city council? Where's the Prescott City Council? Where's our Prescott mayor? Where's our city manager? And I got to tell you, the silence has been deafening. Mm-hmm. You would think that in this city where we will bear the biggest brunt of this, that we would have our council people and our mayor weighing in on this. Do you know that they were not even asked to join this committee? This was in the Chin report. So again, the Chin report right here, try to get a hold of it. In section 1, page 3, it's going to show you the project advisory. I'm not sure which way to put it. Let's put the project advisory committee members right here. We've got Phil Bourdain, Yavapai County Administrator, Ken Van Kuren, the Director, Yavapai County Facilities Department, David Rhodes, Captain, Sheriff's Department, Rolf Eckel, Yavapai County Court Administrator, Jack Fields, Brandon Schouts, Pam Vigard. My point I'm trying to make, not one of these committees was there one member of the Prescott City Council, the mayor, our city manager. Now remember, we're going to bear the brunt of this. Not one of them, not the business community, the residents down here were invited to this advisory committee. I think if we had had a weigh in on this, at the very least, we could have instituted some parameters, some numbers. Again, how many people can this small community absorb? Yeah. Is it 10%? Is it 20%? Over the years, will we allow 40% of our community be, people out of the jail system?
Yeah.
We need to weigh in on this. We should have been invited to weigh in on this.
And for the new people who might have moved here since, this was done in, I believe, 2016, March of 2016, this little report was how to eliminate the overcrowding in the Yavapai County Jail. It cost you taxpayers about $250,000 for this report.
That's right.
So my question has always been, how much of this report has been implemented and how much have they actually done to the recommendations of the Chin report? I can never get an answer for that.
And again, in the Chin reports, if you go into the forecast, well, there's an assessment. She doesn't say in here, you need a jail right now. In fact, I think what she says here, I'll have to find it, what she's recommending, she's saying we do need an expansion. Mm-hmm. We could use an expansion of 100 beds, okay? She doesn't say anywhere in here we need a 600-bed jail. In fact, if you read the Chin report, on every single page, it's talking about how our the jail population is supposed to go down. On section 3, page 2, she's got an inmate population forecast model, which takes us from 2020 all the way up to 2035. She gives you 7 different possibilities because none of us has a crystal ball.
Yeah.
Only one of these shows an increase. The rest of them show a decrease.
Yeah.
So what are we supposed to believe? Do we need the jail or don't we need the jail? So there's a lot of things in the Chin report which I think is outdated now. This is what, 2015? 2016.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's, 4 to 5 years old now.
Right.
A lot of things have changed. I noticed in here there was a bump. In fact, the years that the Affordable Care Act came in and the drug rehab industry exploded because of the Affordable Care Act, the Obamacare.
Right.
You can read right in here, those years we saw an explosion of people admitted into jail for drug offenses that went into rehab. So you see how bad policy can affect this. This is a great report. Read it. You'll see nowhere in there does it say we need a 600-bed jail. I hope you all become informed on this.
Well, that's why we're doing the show. We want to make sure that people know the other side. Let's talk a little bit about the numbers. Let's talk about the economic. We talked about the economic impact and the impact within our community, but what is it actually going to cost the citizens of Yavapai to build this jail? I've heard anywhere from 65 million to 70 million. What's the real number? And I'd like to remind the folks, when I say 65 or 70 million dollars, that does not count the staffing, that does not count the retirement PSPRS. So do you have any of those numbers?
I actually do, but I'm going to preface right off the bat, we're going to be speaking in generalities because they themselves, the County Board of Supervisors, don't actually have the real numbers yet anyway. The way the building industry works, again, my area, these are all estimated. So I'm going to tell you the key word in all of this is estimated, okay? So, basically they're talking about borrowing over $80 million. A portion of it's going to go to pay down the PSPRS debt for them. And most of it, I think it was 70 million.
That's the tax now.
Yes, this is the tax.
The 18% tax on your last tax bill.
On the Yavapai County portion of the tax bill.
Correct.
Not the whole tax bill. They've made it very clear that, we need to make sure we say that it is on the Yavapai County portion of it.
And that's about $80 million a year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's about 80 million, but the holding costs are going to be over 3.5 million. So even though you take 80 million or 70 million to build this jail, the first phase only, by the way. I heard Randy Garrison a couple years ago in County Board of Supervisors estimating that to full completion of this 600-bed jail facility, we were looking somewhere in at the end of the day, 244 million. So this first phase will be somewhere estimated between 70 and 80 million dollars. Now I'm going to tell you, this is 2020, I'm a builder, and I'm going to tell you the estimated square foot to build this jail is grossly underrated. And what will happen, if anybody's built a home or built anything, there will be one change order after another. There's revision in building codes, so that's going to be another addition. This is just how these projects go. It's a matter of fact. These things will happen. The architect will design this. By the time it's all put out there, we're going to have different modifications and different codes. There'll be things they'll get in there and go, oh shoot, we forgot this. They're going to add it on. So I'm going to tell you, if this thing doesn't reach close to $100 million between the construction of the project and all of the furnishings and things that we need on the inside, office desks and all that, we're going to be at $100 million is my best guess by the time this thing is done. Again, your tax dollars, my tax dollars. That's not even forgiving what's going to happen to our society here and how will we be paying more taxes when we find ourselves in a position as we did before. More police, more drug sniffing dogs, more fire, more paramedics, more taxes, a strain on our hospital, a strain on the neighborhoods, the crime goes up. We've got to be able to control this. We're a small community and we cannot absorb this population in these numbers.
Good points. What else you want to add? Because I'm out of questions. I'm like, wow, there's a whole lot of information here, folks. I know you might want to run this a couple of times, but again, it's important that we hear the other side. And I welcome the other side to come in. If you want to come in and pitch for the jail, you're more than welcome. Maybe we'll even have Connie and a couple other people roundtable it and hear all sides of it. But I think when we're talking about like the Chin report and we're talking about, these are things, folks, that quite honestly, just so you know, we've put in a lot of FOIAs, a lot of Freedom of Information Act requests, so that when we do the show, we wanted to give you the information that is current and factual. So please do your homework. While I'm out on it, Connie, is there a website, or do you have a website or a Facebook page or
I
a
do
phone
have a
number that if
Facebook.
anybody has a
Yeah.
question?
Well, the best thing to do is ask to be invited onto Stop the New Jail. It does take a little bit of digging to find that on Facebook, but I'm going to make sure with some of the people that are involved in it that this information is on there. There's a lot of information, and I'm going to warn you right up front, it's disturbing. But this, I'm going to tell you, this is the time right now. Our ballots are going out on July 8th. We are at a crossroads. We only have a few more weeks. Please be informed on this subject and who you are going to vote for. And I gave the list earlier of who I'm voting for. I'm just going to tell you, you want to vote for the people that are not for this jail. At least stop it. We can stop and take another look at it, and hopefully the city, the people, the taxpayers can get involved in decisions going forward on this jail, because a committee of everybody in the law enforcement is not a fair committee, in my mind, to what's going to take place in this town. So please get involved and start voting. And I do want to real quick just tell you all the definition. I think this is important because a lot of people have called it a prison. It is not a prison. It's worse. Let me tell you the definition, and this is right off of the computer. It's a fact detail. What is the difference between a jail and a prison? Jails are locally operated short-term, just remember this, it's a short-term facility that holds inmates awaiting trial or sentencing or both. The inmates sentenced to do term of less than 1 year typically are misdemeanors. Prisons are longer-term facilities, so run by the state or the federal government. But the bottom line is the jail is going to be worse on our community because it is a revolving door back out. And I've had some people involved in the Department of Corrections here that tell me they've had prisoners in there that are waiting for sentencing up to 2 years.
Yeah.
So that means they cannot
Well, there's some
leave.
judicial reform that
Yes.
needs to be done as
Right.
well to eliminate some of the beds. But I want to go back to a little bit about the current facility. Do you have any information about, can the current facility be modified or built on or built up or expanded or what have you at a less cost? You know, where we
Absolutely.
don't have to go and build a brand new jail over here by the lakes, that we
Yes.
could take the current facility and expand it and at a less cost. Do you have any information on that, Connie?
I don't have the cost of it, but I know, again, you know, almost 40 years in the building business, it's always better to take something and expand it like that. If they don't, I don't know what the footprint is. It's a percentage of the, you know, the overall site plan. If they have to go up, they can go up. It's going to take some engineering. It's going to take an architect, but it can happen. Even the plan that they have today, right now, the plan that's going to be going out there, the jail right by the, you know, off Prescott Lakes Road, it wouldn't take that much modification to take that plan. You'd have to change the site plan, obviously, and move it to another location and still use 80% of that paid-for design. It's not a difficult thing, but here's the problem. We've got people that are so set in their ways, and by God, they're going to have this jail. We've been planning it. I've heard this so many times. We've been planning this for 25 years. Well, come on, people. Let's be flexible. Things change over 25 years. That location is no longer way out of town.
Right.
It's walking distance. So again, let's get people in there with more vision, people that really do the research and understand the repercussions of this knee-jerk decision to throw it right there, even though it's been in the planning for 25 years. It's the inability to think outside of the box. But not only that, first and foremost, these people are not thinking about you, the constituent, who has voted them in place year after year after year because you like the way they look or you know him, he's your neighbor. Let's stop that. Let's put people in those positions that understand the full repercussion of a decision like this. And also, here's a novel thought, invite the stakeholders into the meeting. Invite the business owners, the restaurant owners. Where's city council? Where's our mayor? Let's weigh in. Let's talk to these people because we're going to be the ones that are going to inherit all the problems that are surrounding this population of people. We're too small.
Well said. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
Glenn.
And appreciate you bringing in all your information. I think hopefully we all learned something new today, something that we can go back and do some research on. And again, Connie put out the Stop the New Jail. You have to be invited. Go to on Facebook, like it. I'm sure they'll vet you for whatever they do. I don't know. But that would be a great source of information where you can get some of this stuff and talk to the people who have been researching this for so long. How long have you been doing this?
Well, I've been myself 8 months ago when I saw that that they were going to raise that tax whether we want it or not on our property. I'm like, we have runaway government here.
Yeah.
I need to look into this to find out what they're talking about, and I will tell you what I have found is disturbing.
Okay. Well, thank you again. I appreciate
you.
it. And thank you, Prescott, for tuning in. As always, we like to say thank you to our current and prior serving military. You are the reason we are able to sit at this table and discuss these matters. I'd like to thank the police department, fire department, all of our first responders. We have your back more now than ever, and we very much appreciate you and what you do to keep our community safe. So with that, I'll talk to you next time, Prescott. It's been a very interesting conversation. I hope you enjoyed it. Take care.
Thank you.